Bruiser driving Murdoch's head into the press table, and a hard blast to the midsection by Dick the Bruiser. Once more, Murdoch driven into the press table. The Bruiser battering Murdoch outside the ring. Murdoch dropped to the...
Welcome to Classic St. Louis Wrestling Volume 1. Hello, I'm Larry Matisick. Not only did I have the pleasure of doing play-by-play commentary for the famous Wrestling at the Chase from 1972 until 1983, but I also had the honor of working every day with the late great promoter Sam Muchnick. I learned so much, saw so much. It was an exciting time for everybody because St. Louis Wrestling was something special. And we're going to prove it to you right now with Volume 1 of Classic St. Louis Wrestling. Let's go back to 1979.
Rowdy, belligerent, tough, all of that describes Dick Murdoch, who's here today on Wrestling at the Chase. Hello, I'm Larry Matisick. Murdoch, of course, is a former Missouri state champion and one of the top contenders for the World Heavyweight Championship. Whenever Murdoch's around, you know it because he is truly what a Texan should be, I guess. He's loud, but he's tough, and he can wrestle inside that ring. Dick Murdoch is here today, and we'll be back with the opener right after this.
Welcome to Wrestling at the Chase, the opening bout, a one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from Houston, Texas, weighing 227 pounds, Gene Stevens. From Denver, Texas, weighing 236 pounds, David Von Erich.
David Von Erich tangles with Gene Stevens, the opener today on Wrestling at the Chase. Stevens started out with a bit of a rush. Von Erich backed him off. They square off in the center of the ring. David clenched a fist, and Stevens is already complaining. Referee Charles Venator cautions both men. It's a wrestling match. Let's try to keep it that way. David Von Erich with a wrist lock on Gene Stevens, and Von Erich, who stands 6'6", can certainly take advantage of his height right here. He towers over Stevens and really leans into the hold. David Von Erich, a terrific young prospect, along, of course, with his brother Kevin. Stevens tries to lean into David Von Erich. David, though, has good balance and really pours on the pressure to Gene Stevens. You can see how perfectly Von Erich is applying that hold. His arms intertwined with the left arm of Gene Stevens. A lot of pressure in the wrist. Stevens counters very nicely, and Stevens with the wrist lock on David Von Erich. David tries to roll his way up. Has to struggle to do it, but gets there. Counters beautifully into a hammerlock. Good move by David Von Erich, who then yanks on the chin of Gene Stevens and drops a knee into Stevens' elbow. Well done by David Von Erich. Stevens had countered David's wrist lock, but then David got to his feet, moved behind Stevens with the hammerlock, and put Stevens on the mat. And now, once again, the leverage, the balance, all belong to David Von Erich as he twists the hammerlock onto the arm of Gene Stevens. Stevens tries to come to his feet. He almost has to be standing, really, to counter the hold unless he can get to one of David's legs. David really has that hand well up behind the back of Stevens. The whole arm bent. Really, the forearm not too far away from the bicep as tightly as Von Erich is applying the hold. But now Stevens puts Von Erich on the ropes. Charles Venator wants a clean break. Doesn't get one from Stevens, though. Begins pounding on the midsection of David Von Erich. And Von Erich pops Stevens. Stevens stays in the corner. But you don't see any wild rushes from David Von Erich. A lot of poise for the young man. Experience beyond his years, really, and of course a lot of that comes from his father, Fritz Von Erich. Von Erich, David, behind Stevens, comes up with an arm twist armbar combination, and then a knee drop to the elbow, and then into an armbar by David Von Erich. Of course, we mentioned David's father, Fritz, along with many in the line of contention for a crack at the World Heavyweight Championship. Certainly, Fritz ranks with anyone. One of the all-time greats, the inventor of the Iron Claw. And while we haven't seen David or Kevin use that claw hold yet, you can bet it's something they have in their bag of tricks, something that once they have it perfected, someday, somewhere, we're very likely to see a claw hold applied by one of the Von Erich boys. Because Fritz is the best with the claw. There's no question about it. And the Von Erich brothers have inherited so many other good qualities from Fritz. You can bet they're going to inherit the claw also. Stevens drives his shoulder into the stomach of Von Erich. Hard clout to the ribs and then to the neck by Gene Stevens. Stevens pounding on David Von Erich.
Come on, David!
That one hurt Stevens' hand as he caught Von Erich on the jawbone. Von Erich battles back. David drives a knee into the stomach of Gene Stevens and then whips Stevens to the ropes. Drop kick by David Von Erich. Von Erich covers Stevens. Stevens drapes his leg onto the bottom rope. Stevens goes for Von Erich's leg, trying to throw David off balance. Those long legs make an inviting target for any opponent of David's. And now Stevens ties up the leg of David Von Erich. As though he needed any reminder, that drop kick of David told Stevens just how agile and how quickly David Von Erich can take to the air. It also reminded him exactly how effective that drop kick can be. So Stevens quickly shifted his attack to the legs of David Von Erich, hoping to take some of the spring out of those legs. The crowd chants and yells, encouraging David Von Erich. But Stevens in command, or is he? Von Erich hooks the head, flips Stevens over. A lot of strength in those legs, too. Stevens looked as though he was going to try to kick David Von Erich, but David blocked it. Body drop into the thigh by David Von Erich. David still favoring that leg a little bit, though. Leg snap by David Von Erich.
5 minutes have elapsed, 5 minutes left.
5 minutes remain in the opener between Gene Stevens and David Von Erich. Stevens outmaneuvered Von Erich there, catching David with a kick to the stomach. Stevens hurls Von Erich to the ropes, and then a kick to David's chest as Von Erich comes off those ropes. Hard punch to the head by Gene Stevens. Once more, Stevens bangs home that fist to the head of David Von Erich. Stevens really opening up with the rough stuff now, trying to polish off David Von Erich. But David refuses to quit. Takes a couple more punches, a kick. Von Erich fighting back yet. Von Erich forcing Stevens to the ropes. Up and over goes Gene Stevens. Compliments of David Von Erich. Knee drop to the chest by Von Erich. Try for a pin, but at the count of 2, Stevens shoves off David Von Erich. Elbow smash to the head by David. Stevens refusing to quit himself as he lashed out with a boot to the stomach. Stevens, reverse neck breaker. Reverse neck breaker by Stevens. Von Erich almost escaped it in midair, but he still took a pretty good shot to the neck. Von Erich off the ropes with a forearm smash. That one seemed to daze Stevens a bit, but he comes flailing away. Hard punch to the midsection by Von Erich. He forces Stevens to the corner. There goes Stevens on a trip across the ring into the buckles. Drop kick by David Von Erich. Caught Stevens in the face. Von Erich mounts the ropes. Knee drop to the stomach. Von Erich with a semi-atomic drop off those ropes. A giant splash. 2 knee drops to the stomach, followed by the giant splash. And David Von Erich with a giant splash is the winner over Gene Stevens. Von Erich using those ropes and his height to set up Stevens with a pair of knee drops, and then David threw himself out in the midair and crashed down across the chest of Gene Stevens. Here's ring announcer Mickey Garagiola.
In 6 minutes and 51 seconds, a giant splash to winner Dave Von Erich. A main event, an Australian tag team match, 1 fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing from Charlotte, North Carolina, with 232 pounds, Billy Starr. And from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, weighing 235 pounds, Brian St. John. From Baton Rouge, Louisiana, weighing 266 pounds, Bob Sweetan. From Santa Fe, New Mexico, weighing 324 pounds, King Kong Brody. Referee Joe Tango, Charles Veneta.
King Kong Brody and Bob Sweetan meet Brian St. John and Billy Starr, and we have a very special guest with us at ringside during the match, David Von Erich. David, welcome to ringside. Appreciate having you as our guest commentator.
Thank you, Larry. Glad to be here.
David Von Erich is with us as Brody begins the action against Brian St. John. Brody circles St. John. St. John checks where his partner Billy Starr is. David, you've been in there with King Kong Brody before on the opposite side of a tag match, I recall, here on Wrestling at the Chase. A huge man.
That's right, Larry, he really is. And not only is he huge, but he knows how to wrestle. He knows how to use his body to his best advantage.
Do you think a lot of people maybe overlook the fact that he is a good wrestler because of his bulk and his size and his power?
Well, I'm sure they do, Larry. I don't, because like I said, I've wrestled before, and I know that he knows how to wrestle also.
We've seen your drop kick, and it's a potent one, but King Kong Brody, despite 324 pounds, he has a good drop kick, too.
He really does. Yeah, I saw him get up a minute ago with one.
Side headlock by Bob Sweetan on Brian St. John. Sweetan whipped to the ropes. Flying tackle by Sweetan levels St. John. Side headlock, and St. John catapulted to the mat by Bob Sweetan. There's another guy who maybe people underrate sometimes, and Bob Sweetan. Not real tall, but I imagine he's very hard to move because of his size.
Well, he really is. I've never had a chance to get in the ring with Bob Sweetan. I really would like to. But one of these days I will, and I'll find out just exactly how much he knows how to wrestle, too.
Of course, you've been in wrestling professional now. How long, David? A couple years?
Yes, sir. Almost a year and a half now.
What has been the toughest thing for you? Of course, your father, Fritz, prepared you well. He told you some of the pitfalls you could expect, but is there anything that surprised you in that it's been very difficult for you?
Well, Dad told me how tough it was going to be, but I had no idea until I got into the ring. It really is a very vicious sport.
Drop kick by Sweetan.
He shows us something, too.
Right there. It's hard to realize, I guess, how much punishment you can take until you've actually been in there to take it, isn't it?
It really is, Larry. It takes tremendous conditioning and a tremendous will to want to win, to be a winner in this sport.
King Kong Brody has that will, as does Brian St. John, a fast-rising young star. Brody whips St. John across the ropes. Flying tackle, but it doesn't work against Brody. St. John came off for another flying tackle, and that was a mistake. Brody was waiting with a kick to the stomach. Brody lifts St. John. One arm. Brody suspends St. John and slams him. Billy Starr looking for a tag, but St. John has been rattled. Side headlock over the hip. Brody puts St. John on the mat. David, we talked about how big Brody is. There's one a little bit bigger, and that's Andre the Giant. Of course, he has a match coming up with Dick Murdoch. Now, you were in the Wrestle Royal where Andre and Dick Murdoch were, and you bumped heads a couple times with Andre. You have to have almost, I don't know if it's fear or respect or awe, or what do you feel when Andre's across from you?
All of those things, Larry. You feel fear, respect, and awe. He hit me. Well, I did feel his head. He gave me one of his headbutts the other night in that Battle Royal. And I'll tell you what, I wasn't the same the rest of the night.
And if he can get that headbutt to Dick Murdoch, I guess even Murdoch, as hard as his head is, he'll know it.
Well, Murdoch does have a super hard skull, and I'm sure when Andre puts that headbutt on Murdoch, it's going to do the same damage to him as it did to me.
Brian St. John taking some damage right now from Sweetan and Brody. Of course, Sweetan and Brody have been partners before. They know each other's style. They know the strong points. They know how to work together. Sweetan tried to flip St. John. St. John, the jackknife and cradle, but Sweetan drives his knees into the head of St. John to get away, and Sweetan quickly back on the attack. St. John driven into the top turnbuckle by Bob Sweetan. Hard forearm smash by Sweetan. A lot of people, I think, overlook, too, those forearm smashes when they're delivered across the chest. That can really knock the wind out of you, can't it?
Well, it really can, Larry.
Look at that, jackknife and cradle by Sweetan. St. John gets away. St. John can't get to make a tag, David. He's going to get in a lot of trouble.
You better get out of there pretty quick, Larry.
You and your brother Kevin have been in many tag team matches. I know you're recognized as the tag champions in Texas. You know how important it is to tag fast.
That's right. You can't let yourself get into too much trouble in there without tagging out your partner. That's one thing I haven't lucky, though. I do have my brother Kevin in there with me, and occasionally I have Dad in there also, which I know when I get to the corner there is help on the way.
I know Sam Muchnick has been trying to put together the dates, hopefully to get the three Von Erichs together for a six-man tag match, but it's tough because Fritz, David, and Kevin are all in so much demand.
Well, Dad keeps busy, and so does Kevin, so do I, but one of these days we're going to have Dad down there. It's been a long time since he's been back here in St. Louis, and he always talks about it, and he always talks about how much he loved it here. And when we get Dad in that corner, the people in St. Louis are really in for a treat because nobody does a six-man tag match like me, Kevin, Dad.
Brody with a backbreaker to Brian St. John.
5 minutes of elapsed, 15 minutes left.
St. John has been in that ring for the entire 5 minutes. He's had a few moments when he got things started, but Brody and Sweet Dan, through their double teaming or quick thinking on their individual part, have been able to keep St. John in trouble. St. John simply cannot keep withstanding this kind of punishment from Sweet Dan and Brody, but you have to admire St. John's scrappiness as he battles back with Sweet Dan. St. John pounding on Sweet Dan, and there's a tag with Billy Starr, who's fresh and goes after Sweet Dan. Sweet Dan whipped to the ropes by Starr. Drop kick by Starr with a beauty. Try for a pin. Sweet Dan pushes off Starr. Look at Brody. Brody grabs Starr, and then Brody and Sweet Dan with a quick double team puts Starr in some trouble. How'd you like that drop kick from Starr, David?
He really got up that time, Larry.
Starr trapped in the wrong corner, though. He turns around and he's looking at the boot of King Kong Brody. Brody flips Starr to the ropes. Hard smash right off the top of the head of Billy Starr. Brody grabs Starr, slams him into the turnbuckle. What can you do against a man like Brody? Try to take him off his feet or not? Is that a good idea?
Well, you try to work on his legs, Larry. Try to get him off his feet. That's exactly right. I use my drop kicks and my flying stuff mainly on a guy like Brody because the way to get down a giant is to go at him low or go at him high one way where he's not expecting it.
Brody whipped to the ropes by Starr. Starr tried just what David Von Erich said, and he missed that drop kick. And of course, that's also a danger with the drop kick, David. You're gambling every time you go up.
That's right. When you go up off the ground, you're committing yourself.
So you have to be sure you bet on the right number.
That's right.
Brody.
You got to make sure he doesn't have your number.
In that case, Brody had Billy Starr's number, and now Sweet Dan tries to follow up the advantage that King Kong Brody gave him. Sweet Dan pounding on the back of Starr. Starr trying to fight back. Sweet Dan with a bear hug.
You know, Larry, I'd really like to see Andre the Giant and Dick Murdoch get a hold of each other because, you know, Murdoch's mouth, the most impressive thing about Murdoch's wrestling to me is his mouth. Because he may be doing, no matter what he's doing in the ring, his mouth's always going. And I'll bet you, I'll just be willing to bet cash money with you that when he gets in the ring with Andre the Giant shuts his mouth right up.
Well, I'll tell you, Andre the Giant isn't much of a talker. He's a pretty quiet individual. But I would think Murdoch, with all his yelling and his bragging, might just be getting underneath Andre's skin by this point.
Well, Andre the Giant, he's awesome when you're in the ring with him, but when you get him really mad at you, then it's even twice as bad.
Brody caught in the jackknife and cradle. Doesn't stay there long. Brody wants it. No, he's complaining about Starr pulling the tights. I would think, David, that it's very difficult to catch Brody in some type of cradle because of his strength. His extremities, his arms, and his legs are so strong. Can you really hold him in a cradle for a 3 count?
It's real hard unless you can stun him some way, Larry. If you can stun him, then you can get him. But trying to crotch Brody and hold him down for a 3 count without any kind of physical force on top of him, it's just next to impossible.
And wearing Brody down, that takes a little time because that man is tough. Look at the legs on him. He's got to have the biggest pair of thighs in the wrestling business today. Starr working on the head of Brody, but there's where the height comes into Brody's advantage. You wouldn't have that problem, David. You're just about as tall as Brody is.
Yeah, I think I can get up there on top of him, but
staying there is the problem.
Staying there, right.
Sweet Dan coming over to help his partner. St. John comes over to chase Sweet Dan back. Brody now leans into Billy Starr. Starr finds himself in a bad spot along the ropes. Brody with that smash. Pounding on the head of Billy Starr is King Kong Brody. Brody flailing away at Starr. And then Brody looks for his partner Sweet Dan, who brings up the knee across the face of Billy Starr. Sweet Dan and Brody are an impressive combination, David.
Yeah, they really are. I'd like for me and Kev to get in there with Larry.
Be a very interesting match.
Well, it would. Kevin and I are always interested in the best because, like my dad told me a long time ago, to be a giant, you have to beat a giant.
Good point. And there are some giants in St. Louis. Sweet Dan goes for the pin on Starr, but couldn't get it. Tag made to Brody. Sweet Dan stops Starr from getting to Brian St. John. Brody with a kick to the stomach. Was there a tag made? Apparently there was. Joe Tangaro didn't see it, and he wanted to be sure. And any good referee would. Starr caught with a punch to the midsection by King Kong Brody. Brody looks around, almost a challenge in his eyes. When Brody says he'd wrestle anyone, I'm sure he means it. Brody lifts Starr. Drops Starr into that top cable. Talk about being committed, David Von Erich. You are committed when you're tossed into the air like that. No way to protect yourself.
Only one way to go, and that's down.
10 minutes have passed, 10 minutes left.
Bob Sweetan drives a forearm underneath the chin of Billy Starr. Starr and St. John have made exactly 1 tag so far. Sweetan and Brody must have made 20 tags, and I'm sure David Von Erich would agree that's been the difference in the match, really.
It really has. They're ganging up on one person, taking it. It's legal. It's completely legal the way they're doing it. They're coming in one at a time and taking over on him.
Starr exposes. He comes off the rope, and Brody was waiting. Sweetan sees an opportunity, and Sweetan, above all else, is an opportunist. He won't let something like that pass.
Well, there you can tell these two guys have really been in a lot of tag team matches together. They know each other's moves real well.
Brody was fighting Billy Starr, digging the teeth in. Sweetan tried to get over to Starr. Brody turns Starr and pounds on Starr's head. Billy Starr has taken his lumps. And as David Von Erich pointed out, the experience as a tag team combination of Sweetan and Brody so far has been the difference. Sweetan with a punch to Starr's head. Starr makes a trip off the ropes. Oh, Sweetan driving in the forearm and the bicep to the lungs. Then a flying elbow drop. Sweetan goes for the pin. Starr won't quit. Brody's big boot is up there, and Billy Starr's whipped into it by Bob Sweetan. If you were in Starr's position right now, David, what could you do to change the momentum?
Well, Larry, the only thing he can do right now is try to get to his partner. He's physically worn down now to a point where all he can do to keep him getting defeated is to tag in his partner.
And actually the best thing he can do is flail away desperately and, like you said, get out of there as quickly as he can. But Brody certainly not letting Starr do that as Brody bangs home those big forearms. Tag made to Sweetan. I wish I'd kept track of how many tags Sweetan and Brody have made. It's got to be up around 30 tags by now.
I bet it is.
They've just been in and out of there, almost 30-second shifts they've been working. Starr with a kick, and Starr makes that tag, just as David Von Erich had pointed out he had to do. And now Brian St. John, fresh, tears into Sweetan. Sweetan double up. St. John with a body slam. St. John going for that pin. Sweetan pulls the hair to get him off. Drop kick by St. John. Sweetan once more, doesn't even wait for a count of 1. Another fast tag, this time by St. John and Starr. Starr going for a pin, but couldn't hold down Sweetan. Sweetan bounces off the rope. There's a tag made there. There was a tag made when Sweetan went to the ropes. Starr charging after Sweetan. Brody waiting. Brody with one arm has Starr up in the air, spins him. Almost an airplane spin. Body slam by Brody. Brody goes halfway across the ring. Look out! Oh, Brody crushing Billy Starr with that giant knee drop. David, if you looked up and saw that knee in the air, you'd have to know doom just around the corner.
You got to know that's the end of your match right there. I've never had that done to me except for one time, and I guarantee, Larry, it's not going to happen again.
King Kong Brody makes the pin over Billy Starr. David Von Erich has been our guest at ringside. We'll be seeing David in action later. Here's Mickey.
In 13 minutes, the winner of the bout, King Kong Brody and Bob Sweetan.
King Kong Brody has held his own against almost every opponent, but he finally found one he couldn't lick, and that was Mother Nature when you were trapped in Texas and couldn't make it to St. Louis for a big team match where you'd been scheduled with Ric Flair against Andre the Giant and Rocky Johnson. I know you were very frustrated that evening when you couldn't make it to St. Louis.
You know, there's a lot of controversy about Bruiser Brody, King Kong Brody not showing up against Andre the Giant. Larry, I don't have to tell you, and I don't have to tell all the people here in the Midwest, that King Kong Brody is not afraid to get in the ring with any man or two men in professional wrestling. The people here in this area have seen my ability in the ring. I don't have to come out here and be bragging and boasting and telling everybody that I am the best wrestler here or I am the toughest. They got their own opinion, and I know all of them, as intelligent wrestling fans, know that I am the best man, and that includes the Giant.
Now, I know one thing that's been getting under your skin is that Dick Murdoch's been bragging about how he had to replace you and how he won the match for his team. I understand there's a little bad blood even between you and Murdoch.
Let me tell you something. Dickie Murdoch can come out here and be yelling at the people over here and telling everybody that he's going to beat the Giant. You know and I know and everybody else knows the Giant is undefeated. Nobody beats the Giant. But you know as well as I know that the Giant is living a very, very dangerous life. He has been in the ring with me before, and he knows that he's going to have to get in the ring with me again. He got a breather. Let's call it a breather, a buy on time. He's got Dickie Murdoch in the ring, which I know makes Andre the Giant and his manager very, very happy. If anybody was sad the other night, it was me. If anybody was happy the other night, it was Andre the Giant and his manager, because King Kong Brody did not show up. Now, I don't have to come out here and tell you that since I've been coming to St. Louis, I have defeated 3 former world champions. I am the man who beat Pat O'Connor in the middle of the ring. I am the man who beat Jack Briscoe, one of the greatest champions of all time. I am the man who ran Terry Funk completely out of town. Now, that's 3 former world champions. What makes you think, or anybody else think, that I might be scared of any man in professional wrestling? Anybody who thinks that is completely loco.
I know one thing, despite all the arguments about Andre and the controversy about Murdoch, your ultimate goal is still that gold belt, the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I'm going to issue a challenge right now. The winner of the match between Dickie Big Mouth Murdoch and Andre the Giant has me to look forward to. Now, let me tell you something. Big does not make you great. Big does not make you strong. Andre the Giant is the biggest man in the world. That does not make him great. That does not make him strong. He must prove himself to me. And when he gets in the ring with me, he'll fall like all of the other world champions did. My goal when I came here was to get a chance at the world champion, and I'm not leaving until I take the gold with me.
King Kong Brody. I don't think anybody can question what he's saying is true, and that he's not afraid of anyone. He's proven that. Mother Nature licked him one night, but that was one night only. We'll be right back with more action after this.
The first main event, a handicap tag team. 1 fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing from Santa Fe, New Mexico, weighing 325 pounds, King Kong Brody. And from Paris, France, weighing 234 pounds, Pierre Bonnet. From Birmingham, Alabama, weighing 246 pounds, Randy Alls. Referee Joe Tangaro.
King Kong Brody is by himself against Randy Alls and Pierre Bonnet, and with us at ringside, a very special guest, Ted DiBiase. Ted, thanks for stopping by to visit with us.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, Larry.
Brody on his own. Alls and Bonnet can tag in and out of the ring at will. Brody quickly drops Alls with a leg lock. Right there, something that probably surprises a lot of people, Ted. They don't really give Brody credit for being a good wrestler.
He's an excellent wrestler, and he's a very well-conditioned athlete. A lot of people look at Brody and say, well, he's just a big, strong brute, but if you watch him close enough, he does a lot of wrestling. You don't see it very often because a lot of times he takes the place of the wrestling with just brute strength.
And he has a lot of that. Flying there by Brody, and then he clamps the head of Randy Alls. Now, Ted, you've been in the ring with Harley Race, the World Heavyweight Champion. You've been in the ring with King Kong Brody. How do you look at that match between Race and Brody? Any predictions or any outlooks on how it might go?
Well, I seriously believe that the match could go either way. King Kong Brody, a lot of people, by his attitude in the ring and everything, may not think that he's a very disciplined athlete, but you look at that body and how big and strong he is. He got that way by being very disciplined, very hard. It's the only way you could get to be that size. Now, the one thing I'd have to say that Harley Race has in his advantage is ring-wise. Harley Race, I would rank above King Kong Brody. He's a very intelligent wrestler, and that's how he's managed to keep his world title this long.
King Kong Brody, that one-arm body slam and then a hard kick to the back of Randy Alls. Brody forces Alls to the corner, pounds away with that forearm smash. Grabs Alls' arm, pulls him out of that corner. Alls reversed the whip, and Brody is jammed. Oh, look at that. Well, Ted, right there, you're talking about quick thinking by Race. It was quick thinking by Brody.
It certainly was, Larry. You know, there's not too many men in professional wrestling that would go ahead and climb in the ring 1 against 2. And
that's for sure.
King Kong Brody's got to have quite a bit of confidence in his strength and his power and his ability to win, or he wouldn't climb in the ring with 2 professional athletes.
Alls with a hard smash to the midsection of Brody. Brody, though, handled the punch, came back with a double clout. Alls fighting back desperately. Randy Alls is a very good wrestler, Ted. He could give Brody a handful.
Yes, he can. He seems to be holding his own pretty good right now.
And then Brody gouges the eyes of Randy Alls. Boy, there's one trait that Brody and Race both share. They'll do anything to win.
That's right. When it gets right down to it, Larry, either man, when it comes to the winning, when they get in trouble, they're going to do everything that they possibly can. They're going to pull all the plugs, and they're going to try and win. And that's why I feel that this upcoming match that they're going to have is going to be one barn burner.
I think it really would be better referred to as a war than a match. It will be a war.
Absolutely, because you know Harley Race, I know from personal experience that this man will do anything to hang on to the world title. And I'd like to say right here, Larry, regardless of the winner of this upcoming world title match, I'm saying right here and now that I want the winner. I want another shot at that world title.
And of course, Ted DiBiase, we know that you're in demand all over the world now. Brody drops Bonet when Bonet tries a flying tackle. Ted, you've got so many offers from promoters everywhere. It's really a feather in Sam Muchnick's cap to get you back in St. Louis. Oh, look at that knee drop by Brody, crushing the chest of Pierre Bonet. What can you do when the man's up in the air like that and you're underneath?
Get out of the way. If you've got anything to get you out of the way, get out of the way.
If you're able to.
That's right.
It's going to be hard to after Brody's been pounding on you for a few minutes, so. Brody with a front face lock on Pierre Bonet. Of course, Ted, your earlier match with Harley Race, you pinned him once right here on Wrestling at the Chase, and then you suffered a throat injury against Race, caused the match to be stopped. And I know you had some problems after that, but you're back in obviously top condition now.
Well, that's right, Larry. I'm in probably the best condition that I've been in. Referring to that earlier match with Harley Race, a lot of people said it was an accident when my throat was hurt, but a lot of my friends that were there watching said that it wasn't an accident. So my attitude is going to be quite a bit different if and when I get another chance at Harley Race.
Brody takes a chunk out of the forehead of Pierre Bonet. Brody biting on Bonet. Bonet, though, was able to make a tag with Alls. Alls pounds away on Brody, and there's the danger for Brody. Bonet was in trouble, but Alls is fresh and going to work on Brody. Alls starting to go for a slam, then goes in for a suplex, trying to get Brody up for the suplex, can't even get him off his feet. And Alls is a man who weighs 246 pounds. Brody with a hard kick.
That 300 pounds plus is a lot of weight to pick up over your head.
Something for Harley Race to think about. His favor's the suplex.
It certainly is.
Will he be able to lift Brody? I wouldn't care to bet on that. Brody with a hard smash to the head. Alls gets over and tags Pierre Bonet. Talking about rebounding from an injury. One other injury you did suffer in your career was at the hands of Dick Murdoch, and I know you're looking forward to the chance to get a little revenge as Brody spins Bonet.
That's certainly
5 minutes have elapsed, 15 minutes left.
certainly true, Larry. As everybody knows, I did suffer a serious injury at the hands of Dick Murdoch, and
Brody with that flying knee drop makes the pin over Bonet. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
And I do have an upcoming match with Dick Murdoch, and it certainly will be a chance. I haven't forgotten what happened that time. I'm a much better conditioned athlete, and I'm in a little better mental frame to meet Murdoch this time. Again, Dick Murdoch can't be taken lightly. He's another one that's a top contender for that world title. So he's certainly a man not to be taken lightly.
King Kong Brody, the winner, as he crushed Pierre Bonet. He's beaten 2 opponents, and here's Mickey.
In 5 minutes and 10 seconds, with a flying knee drop, the winner, King Kong Brody.
Probably no big man in the history of professional wrestling has ever better combined speed and agility with power than King Kong Brody. And that combination might be enough to make you the next world heavyweight champion.
I've waited one long stinking year to get my chance at Harley Race. I've proved myself in this ring time and time again. Right here in St. Louis, I've said it before, I've beat every active former world champion. I beat Jack Briscoe, I beat Terry Funk, I beat Pat O'Connor, and I beat Dory Funk. It's about damn time that King Kong Brody collected some dues from your world champion Harley Race.
Now you know that Harley Race is a man who has said, publicly stated and proven, the only way he's going to give up that gold belt is if he is crippled inside the ring. You know that he will do anything to keep that title.
Harley Race has had an easy street. Let me tell you, he's been in the ring with Dick the Bruiser, who I personally almost crippled myself. He's been in the ring with Teddy DiBiase, who I ran his head face first into this wall over here. He's been in there with Nature Boy Ric Flair, who's just a little too pretty to be going out here and winning any titles at all. Well, finally, he's going to get in the ring with somebody who, if he wants to get crippled, he can get crippled. If he wants to come out there and take a beating like he should, then he can come out and get beat fair and square, or he can get beat up fair and square, too.
Now, you know, I'm imagining you're aware of the interview that Harley Race did with us last weekend here in Wrestling at the Chase, where he said, sure, you're big and strong, but he says he doesn't think you're quick enough mentally to beat him for the title.
I don't claim to be the smartest man that ever stepped in this ring, but I'm smart enough to know that when I get in the ring with Race or any other man in professional wrestling, I'll stick one of these you-know-where and one of these where you-know-where whenever they want to get in here. Harley Race has made the claim that he does better than anybody else in the world at what he does, professional wrestling. He's done it best with everybody else. But Race, your best is not good enough with the King. You just be there and I'll show you what the best is.
Of course, you know, too, that his favorite hold is the suplex. You say that nobody can body slam you. Does that mean that Race's suplex is useless against King Kong Brody?
I'll admit Harley Race is probably the best world champion that's ever wore the NWA belt. But you'll have to admit, just like everybody else out there will admit, he's never been in a ring with a man who's had as much ability, as much size, as much strength, and who can mix it up more than yours truly.
King Kong Brody, he's obviously confident and ready for his chance to become the World Heavyweight Champion.
The second main event, a one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Introducing from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, weighing 235 pounds, Bryant St. John. From Waxahachie, Texas, weighing 268 pounds, Dick Murdoch. Referee Johnny Ramirez.
Dick Murdoch is in a rather foul mood today as he prepares to meet Bryant St. John. Wait a minute. Here comes Dick the Bruiser. And the Bruiser is putting his title belt, the Missouri title belt, on the apron. The Bruiser pointing at the title belt. You know there's a lot of bad blood here between Dick Murdoch and Dick the Bruiser. The Bruiser getting Bryant St. John over. I don't know quite this is all about. Here comes Dick Murdoch outside.
Get him out of that ring. That is my match with St. John and nobody else.
Well, Dick, wait a minute now. What's he doing with the title belt?
Get out of here. Get back up there where you belong, Bruiser.
Dick the Bruiser, who's been the target of some attacks by Dick Murdoch. Dick, a couple of times you've been making comments about the Bruiser, saying you want to meet him. I think he's challenging you. Here comes Sam Muchnick, promoter Sam Muchnick, going to talk with the Bruiser. The Bruiser talking with Sam. Let me check what's going on here.
This guy has butted into every bout I've had. He claims I stole that title belt from him. He claims...
Will you put the belt up?
I always ring the belt. I've got the belt.
You put the belt up against Murdoch here today?
Right. For the main reason that he butts into everything I do.
You got it. Sam Muchnick's agreeing to it. The title belt's on the line, Dick. Dick, here's your chance. That belt's on the line. Dick Murdoch having a slight fit here. Now, Dick, you said you wanted this chance. You've got a chance now at the title belt. Murdoch incensed. Sam Muchnick taking the title belt, and the Missouri State Championship will be on the line. The Missouri title belt on the line right now. The Bruiser and Murdoch for the Missouri title. Is that correct, Dick?
It'll be the last time he ever butts in on me.
The last time he ever butts in on me, says Dick the Bruiser. The Missouri State Championship on the line. Murdoch stepping outside the ring.
Sam Muchnick conspiracy, and all you freeloaders sitting out there are cheering because they're getting something for free that they should be paying gold money for.
Dick, you said all along you want to crack at this Missouri title. Here it is. This is your chance. What are you complaining about?
I'm not ready for that man right now.
You got no choice. Sam Muchnick said that's the match.
A conspirator. He belongs right down the river with the rest of the crooks in a pen.
You better get in the ring, Dick. You got your chance now, whether you want it or not. Are we ready to begin the match? I think Mickey's going to make the official introduction and explain this to the crowd at ringside. Here's Mickey.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dick the Bruiser has agreed to put his Missouri State title up to Mr. Murdoch in one fall with a 15-minute time limit.
Dick Murdoch versus Dick the Bruiser for the Missouri State Championship. The Bruisers had a couple of run-ins with Murdoch where Murdoch jumped the Bruiser from behind, where he double-teamed the Bruiser with Bulldog Bob Brown. The Bruiser has had enough. Murdoch hit him a couple times there. Murdoch pounds on the head, and the Bruiser pounds right back. Murdoch knocked up against the turnbuckles by Dick the Bruiser. Murdoch in retreat. Murdoch, of course, was the man from whom Dick the Bruiser took the Missouri State Championship last July 14th. At that time, Murdoch was incensed. He said that it was supposed to be a 2 out of 3 fall match, and that Sam Muchnick, without advising Murdoch, changed that bout to a 1 fall match. And as far as Murdoch's been concerned all along, it was pure theft that Dick the Bruiser took the Missouri title from him. Well, now Murdoch, with all his yelling, screaming, and complaining, has a chance to shove those words, to make those words come true, and to shove that claim right down the Bruiser's throat, if he can do it. The Bruiser pounding on Murdoch's head. The Bruiser takes his hard fingernail, I guess, across the forehead, and then Murdoch bounces a fist off Bruiser's head. Now, you've all heard Murdoch's comments about the Bruiser. He's called him old, he's called him over the hill. Now, he can show everyone if that's true or not. Murdoch tried to jam the Bruiser's head into the turnbuckle, tries it again. The Bruiser blocking it. The Bruiser blocks it again, and then the Bruiser drives Murdoch's head into the buckle. The Missouri State Championship at stake today in a rather bizarre incident here on Wrestling at the Chase. The Bruiser taking the place of Brian St. John. Could you believe how upset Dick Murdoch was with Sam Muchnick, with Dick the Bruiser, with everybody? A test of strength between the Bruiser and Murdoch. There's the bone of contention. The title belt, symbolic of the Missouri State Championship. It's been held by people like Harley Race, like Gene Kaniski, like Johnny Valentine, like Bob Backlund, like Jack Briscoe, like the Funk Brothers, like Ted DiBiase. It's Dick the Bruiser's now, and Dick Murdoch's trying to take it away. The Bruiser twisting the hands of Murdoch, forcing Murdoch to his knees. The Bruiser twisting those hands backwards. Hard kick to the stomach by the Bruiser. Another kick to the chest by Bruiser. Murdoch kicks right back. If it comes to a barroom brawl, well, that's right down Murdoch's alley. The Bruiser knows it. This is a showdown between two of the biggest stars in wrestling annals. Murdoch strangling the Bruiser over the top rope. Referee Johnny Ramirez gets to a count of 3. Then Murdoch breaks it up to avoid disqualification. Murdoch pounds on the face of the Bruiser. That one hurt the nose. Murdoch drives that fist home to the head of Bruiser once more, and then another hard clout to the head by Dick Murdoch. Talk about wars between Harley Race and King Kong Brody. Well, here's a war right now, the Bruiser and Murdoch. Murdoch is trying desperately and ineffectively to shove Bruiser's head into that buckle. The Bruiser, he can take it and he can dish it out. Murdoch jabbing but falling. Bruiser on top of Murdoch. Knee left to the stomach by the Bruiser. Murdoch doubled up. There's the stomach claw. The stomach claw by Dick the Bruiser. Digging the fingers into the abdomen of Dick Murdoch. The Bruiser with the stomach claw on Murdoch. Murdoch yelling out. Murdoch's shoulders are down. He got him up at the count of 1. It was just his stomach claw following an atomic drop that gave the Bruiser the Missouri State title in their earlier encounter. Earlier, quite some time ago in July, and the Bruiser has been a very active and successful Missouri State champion. Murdoch reaches up for the tights, and then Murdoch drives home a fist to the jaw of Dick the Bruiser. Flying elbow drop by Murdoch. Murdoch covers the Bruiser. Count of 1. Just before the count of 2, the Bruiser shrugs off Murdoch. Another elbow drop by Murdoch. Murdoch covers the Bruiser. The Bruiser drapes his foot on the lower rope.
5 minutes have elapsed, 10 minutes left.
Murdoch pounding on the face of Dick the Bruiser. Murdoch yelling abuse at the Bruiser. How do you like that, old man? Says Murdoch to the Bruiser. The Bruiser fights back. The Bruiser spins Murdoch with a hard clout. The Bruiser grabs Murdoch's head and drives that head into the top turnbuckle. What a Donnybrook. A grueling brawl between Dick the Bruiser and Dick Murdoch. The Bruiser twisting the nose of Murdoch. The Bruiser grabs Murdoch and pitches Murdoch through the ropes and outside the ring. The Bruiser going out after Murdoch and slams Murdoch's head into the press table. The Bruiser driving Murdoch's head into the press table and a hard blast to the midsection by Dick the Bruiser. Once more, Murdoch driven into the press table. The Bruiser battering Murdoch outside the ring. Murdoch dropped to the table. Murdoch, his eyes are glassy. The Bruiser pitches Murdoch into the ring. Murdoch, groggy. He's in retreat and looking for a little time to recover, but Dick the Bruiser has it rolling now. The Bruiser yelling something at Murdoch. I think it was something to the effect of, "How old am I now?" And the Bruiser pounding on Murdoch's head. The Bruiser lifts Murdoch. Body slam by the Bruiser. Dick covers him, but Murdoch's legs on that bottom rope. The Bruiser spots it, realizes it was his own fault. He slammed him too close to the ropes. The Bruiser doesn't make many mistakes, and he'll recover from that one. Dick slams Murdoch's head into the top turnbuckle. Murdoch still groggy. The Bruiser is pounding Murdoch from corner to corner of the ring. It's all Dick the Bruiser right now. Bruiser lifts Murdoch again. Body slam by the Bruiser. That was a dandy. That's it, says the Bruiser. He covers Murdoch. Count of 2, and the Bruiser refuses to pin Murdoch. He might have been able to get a 3 count there. But the Bruiser, who's so incensed and so infuriated about everything that's happened between him and Murdoch, what Murdoch said and done, the Bruiser wanted to dish out even more punishment to Dick Murdoch. Murdoch slammed again into the turnbuckle. One more, says the Bruiser, who's enjoying every second of this. One more, the crowd stands and yells at the Bruiser as he again slams Murdoch into that buckle. The Bruiser, a vicious body slammer, gives Murdoch a 3rd slam. Try for a pin, count of almost 2, Murdoch's legs on the ropes. What do you mean, says the Bruiser. He looks over and that foot was already off the ropes. Murdoch fighting back. Murdoch lifts the Bruiser and slams the Bruiser. Murdoch refusing to quit himself. Count of 2, count of 3. Hey, his foot was on the ropes, though. That foot was on the ropes. Dick the Bruiser had his foot on the ropes. Murdoch reached up just at the count of 3 and pulled that foot off the ropes, but the referee was counting the shoulders and didn't see it. The crowd and everybody trying to inform him what happened. Dick the Bruiser has officially lost this match. I believe the referee didn't see that the Bruiser had his leg on that bottom rope. The Bruiser still trying to get at Murdoch. The Bruiser incensed, and it looks right now like we have a new Missouri State champion. And as Dick Murdoch, the referee, was looking at those shoulders, and the Bruiser draws back to take a punch at Johnny Ramirez. Ramirez says, "I didn't see that foot on the ropes." And well, he didn't. He was blocked by the bodies, and Dick Murdoch...
He wanted it, he got it.
Dick Murdoch says he wanted it, he got it. And it's Dick Murdoch now with the Missouri State title belt. No, says the Bruiser. Let's see if we can get an official verdict on this from ring announcer Mickey Garagiola.
In 8 minutes and 18 seconds, the winner and the new Missouri State champion, Dick Murdoch.
Dick Murdoch has the Missouri title belt.
Announce it. Go ahead, announce it, and tell all these freeloaders, especially that punk right there, that who is the new Missouri State champion.
Dick Murdoch with the Missouri State title belt. The Bruiser wanting Murdoch back in the ring. The referee simply missed the call. He didn't see it. The Bruiser had his leg on that bottom rope. And Dick Murdoch is the new Missouri State champion, and the Bruiser probably even angrier now than he was before. We'll be back with another match after this.
The first main event, a one fall with a 20-minute time limit for the Missouri State Championship. Introducing from Waxahachie, Texas, weighing 268 pounds, Missouri State Champion Dick Murdoch. From Wellington, New Zealand, weighing 245 pounds, the former World's Heavyweight Champion Pat O'Connor, referee Joe Tangaro.
Dick Murdoch puts the Missouri State Championship on the line against former world title holder Pat O'Connor. Say everything you want about Dick Murdoch, got to give him credit for one thing. He's not waiting long to put that Missouri title on the line. And by no stretch of any imagination could you say that Pat O'Connor is a pushover. Pat O'Connor has all that it takes to knock Dick Murdoch right off the Missouri throne. A former world champion, he won that title right here in St. Louis, defeating Dick Hutton with a spinning toe hold. Held the title for more than 2 years, eventually lost it to Buddy Rogers before one of the biggest crowds ever to witness a wrestling match. That was in Chicago, and over 30,000 people were on hand at Comiskey Park, a huge crowd. O'Connor, after that, campaigned all over the world, as he still is today. He has continued to be a top contender for both the world and Missouri titles. Often has helped many young wrestlers on their way up, including among them Ted DiBiase. Murdoch with a side headlock on Pat O'Connor. And needless to say, the crowd is solidly in O'Connor's corner, not Dick Murdoch's.
That does not bug Mr. Murdoch.
That's just what I was going to say. Murdoch could not care less. Came into the ring crowing about the Missouri title belt. Says, you know, I had to fumigate this thing. I don't think the Bruiser's going to care to hear about that. Murdoch with the side headlock on Pat O'Connor.
One thing about Murdoch, he doesn't let that belt lay low. I mean, just lay around in the...
He's got it on at stake very quickly.
Right now.
Well, he was a fighting champion when he had the championship before, when he had the Missouri title. He put it at stake often and against all comers until Dick the Bruiser came along. And the Bruiser took the Missouri title from him. And then last weekend, in a match nobody's ever going to forget, least of all Dick the Bruiser lost the Missouri title back to Murdoch, and you know that made Murdoch the only man outside of Harley Race to have the Missouri Championship more than once. Race had it 3 times. Murdoch's now had it twice. And all those other names, people like Kaniski and Valentine and the Funks and Briscoe, 1 time. O'Connor's behind Murdoch. Reverse rolling crow. We can have a new champion right here. But no, Murdoch shoves O'Connor off. Side headlock by Murdoch, and he puts O'Connor on the canvas. Well, that shows you how quickly it can happen. It only takes a count of 3. It only takes a count of 3. O'Connor had one of them right there with that reverse rolling cradle. Murdoch squeezing the head of Pat O'Connor. Murdoch throughout his career has been in the center of controversy. He's no stranger to it. Remember when he wore the mask as the Invader? At that time when he came in concealing his identity from everyone, he said it was the only way to get good wrestlers to oppose him when they didn't know who he was, that they were all afraid of whoever was underneath the mask. Murdoch rubs Joe Tangaro the wrong way. Yells, the referee, can't you count? Are you a stooge of Butchnick's too, says Dick Murdoch.
There's one thing about Murdoch. He's never... Yeah.
Flying tackle by Murdoch. Here he comes again. O'Connor with a hip toss. Murdoch was able to get his legs down and break part of the fall, and that allows Murdoch to come up quickly with a side headlock. Don't kid yourself about this guy. He can wrestle, and he's tough. He wouldn't be where he is today if he weren't. He's been to Japan several times. He's toured throughout Canada. He's been all over the United States. And you know what the first thing he said to Sam Muchnick after the match was? He says, I got this one now. I want the world championship. He knows what that Missouri title belt means, not only in terms of prestige, main events, money. Certainly means a lot of that because the Missouri belt in itself means big matches, tough opponents. But it can also be a stepping stone to the World Heavyweight Championship. Ask Harley Race. Because Race had this Missouri title belt 3 different times. Flying tackle by Murdoch. O'Connor with a good hip toss. Oh, he went in the air with that one. Arm drag by O'Connor. And every bone in Murdoch's body must be rattling right now.
O'Connor caught Murdoch, flung both himself and Murdoch into the air and drove Murdoch to the canvas, then the arm drag. And O'Connor has escaped the headlock very convincingly. Spinning arm lock! Spinning arm lock by O'Connor, and Murdoch yells out. O'Connor twisting Murdoch's arm.
lap, 15 minutes left.
Dick Murdoch trapped in the arm lock of Pat O'Connor. The arm lock that Patrick occasionally spins around to make life even more miserable for Dick Murdoch. Now look at O'Connor bend back. Subtle use of leverage. Arm drag from underneath. Actually more of a power arm drag because he got under it so well and brought Murdoch up over the top. And there is the Missouri title belt. It belongs to Dick Murdoch right now, but before this is over, it might well belong to Pat O'Connor. O'Connor with that spinning arm lock. And Murdoch in real trouble. O'Connor leans back, bends back on it. Boy, Pat has perfect balance there. I'll let you know, Murdoch says to Tangaro, and Tangaro asks, do you want to give up? Pat O'Connor, a master of so many different holds, the sleeper, the reverse rolling cradle, the spinning toe hold, the backslide. A lot of different ways that Pat O'Connor can put a man's shoulders to the mat or get a concession. Murdoch flying across that ring. O'Connor again with the hip toss. Boy, he's just trying to put Murdoch right through the mat. Arm drag by O'Connor. Oh, is he banging Murdoch around this ring.
That's a lot of man that he's been throwing around.
Oh, 6'5", about 270 pounds, Dick Murdoch. And O'Connor shows you that size isn't necessarily everything. If you know how to handle balance and leverage, you can bounce people around. Well, Murdoch's been bounced around pretty good so far by Pat O'Connor. Murdoch had the early advantage with the side headlock, but O'Connor has certainly taken that edge away from Murdoch now. Murdoch reaches for O'Connor's tights. Murdoch puts O'Connor in the corner. Murdoch with a hard smash. Murdoch again driving home that forearm. Murdoch pounds on O'Connor. O'Connor spins Murdoch around. Murdoch tried to slip that arm out. Couldn't do it, and now O'Connor lines up Murdoch. Oh, O'Connor with that hard right cross. O'Connor with a blast to the mouth. Murdoch sags to the mat. And Pat O'Connor with this crowd standing, urging him on, but nothing better than to do some damage to the face of Dick Murdoch. Murdoch grabs O'Connor by the throat. Joe Tangaro telling Murdoch to get out of the trunks. He's pulling O'Connor's trunks while Tangaro tries to get Murdoch to break up the illegal grip on the trunks. Murdoch is strangling O'Connor. Now they're in the ropes and Tangaro wants a break. Murdoch with an elbow smash right to the forehead of O'Connor. Murdoch wades in. Another smash by Murdoch. Boy, he drives those forearms in there. He's mine, yells Dick Murdoch. Murdoch then bangs the elbow into the forehead of O'Connor. Murdoch says, I guess Muchnick wants a piece of me next. O'Connor in trouble here as Murdoch opens up with the rough tactics and now yanks on the mouth of Pat O'Connor. Dick Murdoch, the Missouri State champion. O'Connor slowly to his feet and Murdoch drives O'Connor's jaw into the top turnbuckle. I got him now, says Dick Murdoch. He's getting pretty confident. O'Connor whipped to the ropes. Murdoch with the elbow smash. Drops O'Connor. Murdoch to the air. Flying elbow drop. O'Connor stunned. Murdoch misses. O'Connor summoned enough energy to roll away. O'Connor forces Murdoch's head down.
And O'Connor stamps right on the face of Dick Murdoch. Murdoch's reputation may come to haunt him. O'Connor knows when you come for Murdoch, you come for a knockdown, drag out, back alley brawl, and O'Connor's giving Murdoch just that. Hard pop to the stomach, doubles up Murdoch. A blast to the nose by O'Connor.
10 minutes have elapsed, 10 minutes left.
Still plenty of time left, 10 minutes remaining, as Dick Murdoch has the Missouri State Championship on the line against Pat O'Connor. O'Connor walks into a knee to the stomach and then a jolt to the chest. An elbow again, right to the lungs, trying to knock the wind out. Murdoch charges off the ropes. Murdoch again lines up O'Connor and walks right into the sleeper. The sleeper hold by Pat O'Connor. The sleeper by O'Connor. He has Murdoch in the middle of the ring. O'Connor trying to put Murdoch away and become the new Missouri champion. Murdoch yanking on the hair, but O'Connor won't give up the grip. And now Murdoch's arms are starting to sag. The legs going limp, jerking involuntarily. O'Connor turning it on with the sleeper. O'Connor trying to become the new Missouri champion. Murdoch trying to keep that blood flow into the brain so he doesn't lose consciousness. That arm's limp. Murdoch, barely enough left. He reaches up for the hair instinctively. Murdoch gets to his feet. That's important for Murdoch. O'Connor goes up on Murdoch's back. Oh, and Murdoch ran to the corner, and O'Connor's head was driven into the top turnbuckle. Oh, I'll give that Murdoch credit. Not many people are tough enough, strong enough to withstand that sleeper hold, but Murdoch did it. Murdoch withstanding the sleeper hold. And then Murdoch stomps on the head of O'Connor. Things are getting a little desperate right now for both men. Murdoch knows it. Murdoch pounds on O'Connor's forehead. Opening a cut on his hand. He hit him so hard that he opened up a cut on his hand. Or no, that's blood from O'Connor's forehead, I think. Murdoch stomping on O'Connor. That blood, I thought that the knuckles on Murdoch's hand had been opened up, but instead it's the forehead of O'Connor that has been opened up by Dick Murdoch. And here comes Dick the Bruiser ringside. The Bruiser is in our next match. The Bruiser taking a look in there. He sees that O'Connor is bleeding, and the Bruiser coming up behind Dick Murdoch. Murdoch doesn't even know the Bruiser's there. He just found out. The Bruiser after Murdoch. Dick the Bruiser. This is not a feud. This is a blood rivalry. Murdoch and the Bruiser. Murdoch dives out underneath the ropes, and Joe Tangero's calling for the bell because of Dick the Bruiser coming into the ring. O'Connor bleeding badly from Dick Murdoch, and as soon as the Bruiser saw that O'Connor was bleeding, Dick the Bruiser came into the ring to help out the bleeding O'Connor. Murdoch still has the Missouri title belt. I imagine that Joe Tangero has disqualified Pat O'Connor for interference by Dick the Bruiser. Tangero is explaining it to ring announcer Mickey Garagiola right now. O'Connor, blood all over his forehead from what Dick Murdoch did to him in defense of the Missouri title, and the Bruiser still daring Murdoch to come into the ring. Let's hear from ring announcer Mickey Garagiola.
In 12 minutes and 35 seconds, referee Joe Tangero gives the match to the Missouri State champion Dick Murdoch for outside interference.
Whenever there's controversy, you can almost bet your life that Dick Murdoch is right in the middle of it. Dick Murdoch, the new Missouri State champion. I guess some sort of congratulations are in order to you, even though it was a tainted victory, though.
Certainly there's congratulations due to Dick Murdoch. How many times have I won this Missouri State title outright?
That was the second time you've had it.
And you know, certainly there's controversy when I'm around. There was controversy around when I was born. There was controversy around when the first time I come to St. Louis years ago, when Sam Mushnick right then decided to start a conspiracy drive against Dick Murdoch, knowing that one day Dick Murdoch will be the NWA World's Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. And ever since the first time, I'm going to call him Slamming Sammy Mushnick because he needs something to give him a little ego. Slamming Sammy Mushnick saw me years ago and he said, I have got to put this man down. I have got to slow Dick Murdoch down in his tracks because one day he is going to be the greatest athlete the United States has ever had to offer. and that is the world over. As you know, I've been to Japan 20 times. That is more than any other professional wrestler in the world today, I might add. I have beaten with ease Ted DiBiase with my brain buster right there in the middle of the ring. If you remember,
on the floor, Dick.
Well, somebody moved the ring. If you'll remember, I defeated Jack Briscoe at the kill right in the middle of the ring with my famed brain buster.
Used it outside the ring on the floor.
You let me have this interview, please. Your job is to stand here and hold that microphone just like a stooge for Sam Mushnick. Now, last week I didn't want to wrestle Dick the Bruiser. I didn't want to have nothing to do with him because I had my mind geared for another great athlete in Brian St. John. But evidently, Dick the Bruiser went back here in the back room and gathered Sam Mushnick up in some toilet and probably offered Sam Mushnick more money than he's ever seen in his life, $2.81, to get a match with Dick to me. Well, what happened when Dick the Bruiser got in the ring with me? What happened?
Dick, I'll be honest. You took a beating.
Certainly I took a beating. You don't think I got a face like this from sitting at home, do you? I got the only face a mother could love. But who won the contest? Who is the new Missouri State champion? And who comes out here and wrestles everybody they booked me against? And I have never yet to interfere in a match. But lo and behold, what happens? Dick the Bruiser has to attack me from behind. And you're a witness that he did it. And if all these people out here wasn't such liars, they'd know it too. The only reason they're here is because they get in free. Look at that goof. And Dick the Bruiser, knowing that he is not a great athlete, that he is not a great competitor, that he is one of Sam Mushnick's stooges, wouldn't defend his title with the pride that he deserves. Well, I am going right now and saying Dick the Bruiser, Ted DiBiase, Harley Race, Ric Flair, Andre the Giant, whom I thoroughly whipped, and anybody else is definitely in line for a shot at this title. I am going to defend it like a true champion that Dick Murdoch is.
An open contract. Anybody who wants a crack at you, if Sam Mushnick feels they're deserving, they'll get a crack at you.
An open contract. That also includes Bill Longson or Sam Mushnick if he wants to get in this ring. I have had it up to here with Sam Mushnick, and the first time I catch him out in some street corner, some back alley where he hangs out, I'm going to pile drive Sam Mushnick or body slam him.
Dick Murdoch, the new Missouri State champion. You can see why he's also in the middle of controversy. Dick, congratulations, I guess.
Not controversy, the champion.
Dick Murdoch, the Missouri State champion. We'll be right back with another match after this.
The second main event, a one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing from New Orleans, Louisiana, weighing 245 pounds, Mike Boyer. And from Reno, Nevada, weighing 250 pounds, Dick the Bruiser. Referee Johnny Ramirez.
Dick the Bruiser squares off with Mike Boyer. Side headlock by Boyer on Dick the Bruiser. And I would suggest if you have a party, don't invite Dick the Bruiser and Dick Murdoch. In fact, don't invite Dick Murdoch. You had trouble. I had the police there before half an hour is up.
If you need a headache ball, he's the one to hire, I'll tell you that.
Well, he's on top of the world right now, and you know, the simple fact is, as he said it, he's the Missouri State champion. However he got it, whatever fluke it was that gave it to him, he is the Missouri State champion. It's like the Pittsburgh Steelers are the Super Bowl champions, and the Yankees won the World Series. Whatever may have happened with an umpire and an official, whatever flukes of lady luck were involved, he's the Missouri State champion, Dick Murdoch. He's a man on a spot, I'll guarantee you that.
And a man of very few words.
Dick the Bruiser with a nerve clamp on Mike Boyer, digging in. Boyer forced his knees by the pressure applied from Dick the Bruiser. The Bruiser drives the knee into the back of Boyer. And once again, digs in on the neck of Boyer. The Bruiser, who's probably been suspended more times in more places than any other wrestler in history. We've seen Dick Murdoch in some brawls. Let me tell you, Dick the Bruiser's been in a few himself. He wrote the book.
He's no altar boy.
Boyer, his head driven into the top turnbuckle, and the Bruiser. The forearm smash. Boyer fights back. Mike Boyer pounds on the Bruiser, tries to pull the Bruiser out of the corner, can't do it, then tries to throw the Bruiser into the turnbuckle. The Bruiser, with tremendous power in his neck and shoulders, just won't go. Boyer does.
There's a man in Dick the Bruiser, another one of these tremendously powerful wrestlers. The Bruiser can bench press over 500 pounds also. I say also, I'm thinking in terms of, say, King Kong Brody, who's done a 540-pound bench press. And that is probably why Mike Boyer's down his knees right now as he tests strength against Dick the Bruiser. The Bruiser looking right in Boyer's eyes, and how do you like it? Rub a little salt into the wound.
I wonder what he charged to haunt a house.
Murdoch, the Bruiser.
The Bruiser. Oh, my God, just right down the man's throat.
Mick, he doesn't haunt him, he wrecks him.
Oh, you better believe it.
And right now, he'd probably like nothing better than to wreck Dick Murdoch. Pat O'Connor, I'm sure, was happy when Dick the Bruiser came to his aid in one reason, for the fact that O'Connor was bleeding and hurt. On the other hand, I'm sure he was sorry to see the Bruiser come in because it did cost O'Connor the match by disqualification. But Pat has been around. He understands the Bruiser. He understands what furies are burning right now in him, boy, what temper is frayed right there, and he can understand why the Bruiser did what he did. The Bruiser's not going to need much of an excuse to come after Murdoch at any time, believe me.
I tell you, he's right on his trail. He just follows him around.
And Murdoch did the same thing to the Bruiser for a couple months. The Bruiser pitches Mike Boyer through the ropes and out of the ring. Right down there, says the Bruiser, as he goes out after Mike Boyer. The Bruiser slams Boyer into the steps leading up to the ring. And the Bruiser lines up Boyer and slams him head first into the steel ring post. And then the Bruiser eyes our press table. And Boyer up over the table into the chairs. And there goes the table as Dick the Bruiser rearranges the KPLR TV studio. The Bruiser strangling Boyer and pours ice water over his face, knocking Boyer up against the canvas wall. The Bruiser grabs Boyer and slams Boyer into the ring post. Boyer pulled over the steps by the Bruiser. The Bruiser battering Mike Boyer. The Bruiser pitches Boyer through the ropes and into the ring. Boyer battered, stunned. I don't think he knows what town he's in, but I'll bet you he knows who he's wrestling. It's Dick the Bruiser, the most dangerous wrestler alive. The Bruiser battering Boyer. Now the Bruiser mounts the ropes. The crowd screams in delight, and the Bruiser with the atomic drop. And the Bruiser has a victory over Mike Boyer. Dick the Bruiser, with his atomic drop, polishes off Mike Boyer after destroying Boyer outside the ring. Dick Murdoch, you better beware. I think that man's looking for you. Here's Mickey.
Don't hurt me. In 4 minutes and 40 seconds to win the bout, Dick the Bruiser.
Back in 1979, director Jim Winkle at Channel 11 and I came up with the idea of doing a Best of St. Louis Wrestling show. The very first one aired in April of 1979, but it had action all the way back into the fall of 1978. You're going to like this.
Welcome to a very special edition of Wrestling at the Chase. Hello, I'm Larry Matisick, and today's program might better be titled The Best of Wrestling at the Chase. As you know, Wrestling at the Chase is nearing its 20th anniversary on KPLR TV, Channel 11. Over that time, it's developed a tremendous following throughout the greater St. Louis area, and action like you're going to be seeing today is part of the reason. We're going to be taking a look at some of the highlights of what has happened on Wrestling at the Chase over the past year, and you'll be seeing people like World Heavyweight Champion Harley Race, Dick Murdoch, King Kong Brody, Dick the Bruiser, Ted DiBiase, Nature Boy Ric Flair, Terry Funk, the Lady Wrestlers, and much, much more. So stick around. It's a very special edition of Wrestling at the Chase, and we'll be right back after these important messages. King Kong Brody has gotten plenty of headlines in St. Louis, and Frankie Lane would be the first to vouch that Brody deserves every one. Look what happened when Frankie Lane took on King Kong Brody.
That has the same effect as a karate chop to the windpipe when he's dropped from, say, 7 foot in the air. Brody with a forearm smash. The game and spunky Frankie Lane trying to hang in against Brody. Brody with a hard smash drops Lane. Brody covers Lane, now begins biting Lane. Brody biting Lane, digging his teeth into the forehead of Frankie Lane. Smith warning Brody.
5 minutes have expired, 15 minutes left.
5 minutes of open warfare have passed to the main event on Wrestling at the Chase. Frankie Lane hanging in doggedly against King Kong Brody. Lane pulling on Brody's hair. Look at that. Oh, did you see Brody grab Lane by the hair and just lift Lane off his feet and throw him across the ring? Lane to the ropes. Brody waiting. Oh! Brody caught by a kick from Lane. Another chop and down goes Brody. That's the first time Brody's been knocked off his feet on Wrestling at the Chase in a month. Hard smashes by Lane. Once again, Frankie Lane is on the offensive. Charges in and again. Lane catches a knee lift. He caught it more in the hip area. Frankie saw it coming. He tried to leapfrog over the knee lift, but he didn't quite get over the top. And Brody caught him in the hip and rib area. Probably did more damage than the first time Lane caught that knee lift. This time it knocked wind out of Frankie Lane. Brody lifts Lane with one arm, spins him around and slams him. Brody grabs the legs and Brody going for the Boston Crab. That's his favorite. And Lane has taken some punishment. He took that knee lift to the hip and ribs. I don't see how he has any choice but to give up as King Kong Brody screams in delight.
Former world champion who starred in Sylvester Stallone's movie Paradise Alley stops by Wrestling at the Chase to demonstrate why he is still a leading contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Here is Terry Funk against Tank Patton.
Ouch, says Tank Patton.
10 minutes have passed, 5 minutes left.
5 minutes remain in the first main event on Wrestling at the Chase as Terry Funk uses Tank Patton's face for a doorstep. Kick to the stomach by the Tank. Patton grabs Terry's hair, whips him to the ropes. Could this be the big gun? No, he drives the elbow underneath the chin, wearing him down, so when he does unleash that big gun, Funk will be even more vulnerable. Patton pounding on Terry Funk. More hard smashes by Patton as Funk's trapped in the ropes. Once more, Patton trying to knock the wind out of Terry Funk, driving that forearm right across the lung region, hoping to knock the wind out of Funk. Terry caught up on the ropes, half in the ring, half out of the ring. Trying to get himself straightened out, trying to get those cobwebs out of the head. Patton grabs Funk by the hair, slams Terry into the turnbuckle, and Funk is hanging on. He's in some trouble. Patton obviously primed and psyched up for this big match against Terry Funk. Patton grabs Funk again, runs him clear across the ring, ends again. Terry Funk slammed into the top turnbuckle by Tank Patton. Funk hangs onto the ropes to keep from falling out of the ring, while Tank Patton waits, poised, primed, ready to go after Funk and finish off the former champion. Again, Funk, oh no, Funk blocked it, put his foot up. Funk throws a shoulder smash to the stomach, that doubles Patton. Hey, jackknife and rolling cradle, count of 1, 2, 3, hey, he's got it! He grabs
Dick Murdoch and controversy. They come together as Steve Hall, who tangled with Dick Murdoch on Wrestling at the Chase.
I'll tell you one thing, Murdoch's learned a few things from Dick the Bruiser, too, and that's a long-running feud as Steve Hall tries to regain his composure outside the ring. Joe Tangaro trying to keep Murdoch back. The crowd begins chanting Bruiser and Andre. Murdoch twists all around, drives an elbow into the throat, an elbow into the throat by Murdoch, who's pounding on Steve Hall.
5 minutes have elapsed, 15 minutes left.
Murdoch again with an elbow to the chest that time of Hall, and Hall is knocked off the apron to the floor as Murdoch is battering Steve Hall. Can you imagine what's going to happen when Murdoch tries those tactics on Andre the Giant? Hall slowly through the ropes and Murdoch right on top of him, pounding Hall in the head. Murdoch bangs on the head of Steve Hall. Flying mare by Dick Murdoch. Hard stomp to the jaw. Murdoch driving 268 pounds into the head of Steve Hall, and then Murdoch with a chin lock pulls Hall's head back over the knee. Look where Murdoch's knee is, right in the neck, so that Murdoch can apply full pressure as he yanks back on that chin. What misery Steve Hall's in, but Hall Throws a punch. Another punch by Hall. Hall's head is off the knee of Murdoch. Hall trying to get up, but Murdoch hangs on with a lot of power, a lot of strength right there. And now Murdoch goes to work on Hall, pounding on the face of Steve Hall. Well, Hall paid for punching Murdoch right there. Look at Murdoch, almost with one arm, shades of King Kong Brody there a little bit. Murdoch lifted Hall so easily. Murdoch dominating the action. Hall whipped to the ropes. Murdoch with an elbow underneath Hall's chin. Murdoch taking time to luxuriate in it right now. He knows he's in command. He hooks Hall's head, setting him up for that standing suplex, the Texas Brainbusters, Murdoch calls it. Murdoch driving the head backwards into the mat, then Murdoch coming up on top of Hall, and Dick Murdoch runs roughshod over Steve Hall.
Anything can happen, and that certainly was the case when Leilani Kai met Joyce Grable here on Wrestling at the Chase. These are two of the top female wrestlers in the country today, and here's what happened when Kai met Grable on Wrestling at the Chase.
Leilani picks her up and slams her on the concrete floor. Well, I've seen everything today. Outside the ring, shades of Dick the Bruiser and Ric Flair and King Kong Brody. Outside the ring, Joyce Grable gives Leilani Kai a body slam on the concrete floor. Into the ring comes Leilani Kai. Flying front catapult by Joyce Grable. To the air. Oh, the giant splash missed. The giant splash missed.
5 minutes left. 5 minutes.
5 minutes remaining, and at the pace these two gals are going, I don't think they're going to make it. Look out! They keep draining that pool. Leilani Kai missed a giant splash on Joyce Grable. No falls yet, but it certainly has not been for lack of effort. Grable and Kai going at it hammer and tong. Look at that. What a Donnybrook. By the hair, the flying. Look at that. She's got that long hair of Leilani Kai, and Leilani may be a little bald when it's all over. I think Chuck Riley's underneath there.
Where's
Riley's underneath. Kai rolled Grable over. Grable went over the top of Kai, and Chuck Riley's underneath. Riley trying to get untangled from the mess. And he's mad at Joyce Grable. Chuck's had just about enough. Joyce says it was Leilani Kai. I didn't do it. I'm telling you for the last time, says Chuck Riley.
Yes, sir. That little pinch on the cheek that Flair gave Riley has really got him in a lot of trouble.
Well, this has been a hot and heavy brawl, and I guess it was inevitable that sooner or later the referee was going to get his 2 cents worth of the damage, too. Leilani dumps Joyce Grable and kicks Joyce in the back of the leg. Leilani working on Grable's leg. Going for a pin. Got a cradle there. Leilani can't keep Grable down, obviously. Knee stomp by Leilani Kai.
2 minutes left. 2 minutes.
Less than 2 minutes remaining. No falls yet. Body slam by Leilani Kai. And a kick by Kai to Joyce Grable. Leilani's rough tactics have really helped her in this match. She's had Grable in a lot of trouble. There's a front rolling cradle by Grable. Front rolling cradle out of 1, 2 at 2. Leilani Kai gets away. Oh, that drop kick missed. Roll up cradle by Leilani Kai. This could be it. 1, 2. Joyce Grable barely escapes defeat. She missed a drop kick. Leilani countered with a roll up cradle, but Joyce Grable got away. Up, no, leapfrog by Joyce Grable. Then the back rolling cradle count of 1, 2, 3. That's it.
Joyce Grable was also part of the first mixed tag match ever presented in St. Louis when Joyce and Pat O'Connor opposed Bulldog Bob Brown and Suzette Ferreira. Let's join the action.
Other person to get into the ring quickly after a tag. This is a complicated match, folks.
I tell you.
I gotta tell you. Look at that!
Joyce Grable slaps Bulldog Brown, and Brown's after Grable. Joyce Grable jumped into the ring and slapped Brown right across the mouth.
This crowd loves it. They stand and cheer for scrappy Joyce Grable, who just said hello to Bulldog Brown. And he didn't even ask for a goodnight kiss.
He wants to go after her now.
Bulldog Brown, I think, is stunned, and for once in his life, speechless, thanks to Joyce Grable. Side headlock by O'Connor on Brown.
20 minutes have elapsed, 10 minutes left.
10 minutes remain. In the main event, one fall apiece. Belt him once for me, says Joyce Grable to Pat O'Connor. Well, Joyce did all right for herself. O'Connor obliges his partner. Forearm smash by O'Connor. Oh, an uppercut. To the stomach goes O'Connor, and then O'Connor drops Brown. O'Connor quickly behind Brown. Goes into the sleeper. The sleeper by Brown, but Brown, rather the sleeper on Brown, and Brown gets to the ropes. Brown a bit groggy, although he wasn't in that sleeper very long. It takes its toll quite quickly. O'Connor goes for Brown's leg and puts O'Connor puts Brown on the canvas. Count of one on the Bulldog. Brown keeping that shoulder up. Grable watching intently as O'Connor twists the foot, now bends that leg down over his own leg to apply extra pressure to the leg. Look at O'Connor with his back foot now, hooks the ankle of Bulldog Brown, and then when Brown sits up, O'Connor slugs him with a forearm smash. He was called out, I would imagine, half of an Indian deathlock, because that's exactly what O'Connor has done to the ankle and foot of Bulldog Brown. Now Brown manages to pop the foot free, so O'Connor has to change his hold. O'Connor leaning into the knee and into the ankle of Bulldog Bob Brown. Brown reaching up for O'Connor's head. Smith, though, keeping an eye on Bulldog. Suzette Ferreira started to step into the ring. Again, Suzette started to lift the leg over the ropes, but the referee spied her. O'Connor drops that knee into the knee of Bulldog Brown. Brown throws a little punch into the side of O'Connor, trying to get O'Connor slightly off balance. This will Brown can pull the leg free, do something to get out of trouble here. A slash to the throat by Brown. O'Connor switches around, grabs Brown's head. O'Connor twisting on the head. There goes Suzette Ferreira trying to slap O'Connor. It didn't work. All it happened was Ferreira rode Brown down to the mat. And Brown says, what are you doing? Jumping on my back. I got enough headaches. Here comes Grable right after Ferreira, and I don't think Ferreira knew that there'd been a tag on the other side of the ring. Once more, Grable in there quickly. Ferreira whipped to the ropes. Grable with a flying elbow smash to the jaw of Suzette Ferreira. Ferreira stunned. I think she was stunned from the beginning right here. She didn't know Grable was her opponent. Reverse neck breaker by Joyce Grable. Grable covers Ferreira. This could be a pin, and that's it.
Feuds in a long time involved Harley Race and Dick the Bruiser. In fact, the Bruiser was thinking about Race when the Bruiser battled Armando Rodriguez.
Well, he's going to have one. He tells the fan, how'd you like that, honey? Rodriguez slammed into the side of the ring. The Bruiser comes towards the press table. Rodriguez pinned to the table, and down goes the wall here. The Bruiser dismantling the KPLR studio. In the process, I think he dismantled the Missouri title belt. The Bruiser slamming Rodriguez into the turnbuckles. The Bruiser mounts the ropes. The crowd screams for Dick the Bruiser. Rodriguez down and practically out. The Bruiser's atomic drop. The atomic drop by Dick the Bruiser. Harley Race says Dick the Bruiser, but the Bruiser's not quite ready yet. The Bruiser lifts Rodriguez. Hard smash to the head. Dick the Bruiser punishing Armando Rodriguez. And look at this. Here comes the Bruiser's pile driver. He gave one of these to Harley Race one time, and Race had to be carried out of the ring. Harley Race yells, Dick the Bruiser. That's all he's yelling. Harley Race again and again,
Pile driver by the Bruiser. One more time, says the Bruiser. Harley Race, that's him right there. You want to see me pin Harley Race, says the Bruiser. He yells at referee Eddie Smith. Rodriguez is going nowhere. He's finished. Harley Race, count him out, says the Bruiser. He holds him down with his fingertips.
The Bruiser was so concerned about Race that Dick even came to ringside while Race locked horns with Pierre Lefebvre.
The Bruiser coming outside, taking a look at the man from whom the Bruiser has to take the gold belt. The Bruiser wearing his Missouri State title belt. And Dick the Bruiser eyeing things up, scouting a little bit, and now he stops to take a look at the gold belt here at ringside. Dick, this could be yours in less than a week.
It will be mine in less than a week. I'll wear that belt in less than a week. You watch and make sure that I tell you the truth.
Pierre Lefebvre whipped to the ropes. A high knee lift by Harley Race drops Lefebvre. Harley covers Lefebvre. And Lefebvre throws off Race. The Bruiser comparing belts. And he's going to try on the gold title belt here at ringside. The Bruiser trying on Race's belt. And I don't think Race sees it. Now Harley spots what the Bruiser's doing. The Bruiser trying on the gold title belt. He's putting it on. Dick the Bruiser putting on Harley Race's title belt, and Race is incensed, infuriated. Lefebvre with a reverse rolling cradle on Race. May get a pin. Count of 2. Oh, Race throws off Lefebvre.
I don't want anybody to beat Race until I do.
You heard Dick the Bruiser. He says, I don't want anyone to get to him until I do. Race. He's all upset. Lefebvre with a front rolling cradle. Get out of it, yells Dick the Bruiser.
I don't want anybody to beat Race until I beat him.
And then that gold belt will really be yours. Look at that move by Race. Behind Lefebvre. Back suplex. Back suplex by Race, followed by a bridge. And there's the pin. Race the winner. Now all he has to do is get that gold belt back from Dick the Bruiser. Race crawling outside to try and reclaim his belt from the Bruiser. Race throws a punch at the Bruiser. And the Bruiser wearing Race's belt. The Bruiser wearing the gold belt goes after Race. The Bruiser pounding on Harley Race. The Bruiser trying to get off that gold belt. Race gets at the Bruiser. The belt dropped to the floor. Race going for the pile driver. Race for the Bruiser reverses it. The Bruiser grabs the gold belt. The Bruiser has Race's belt, stands on Race, and raises the gold belt in triumph. Dick the Bruiser holding the gold title belt that belongs to Harley Race. Race stunned on the concrete floor. He tried a pile driver and was backflipped onto the concrete floor by Dick the Bruiser. The crowd stands and chants, Bruiser, Bruiser, Bruiser. Look at this pandemonium at ringside. Only Dick the Bruiser can cause something like that. The Bruiser, the recipient of chants and cheers. The Bruiser, king of the hill. He's not letting Mickey get in either. Race still down on the floor and badly shaken. Referee Charles Venator trying to aid Race and help him to his feet. The Bruiser being congratulated by ringside fans as Race is helped to the dressing room.
Over the past year, Ted DiBiase has developed into one of the major forces in professional wrestling today. Much of that is due to what Ted DiBiase has done right here in St. Louis, right in front of you on KPLR TV. Let's take a review of how Ted DiBiase has developed into one of today's top stars.
Mike Boyer was one of the first to find out how rapidly DiBiase was coming into his own.
Oh, and DiBiase had him sized up there the hard right. Boyer won't stay down, though. DiBiase right on top of Mike Boyer. Whips Boyer to the ropes. Up and over. Tremendous jolt. Flying knee drop to the chest. It was on the chest, not the throat. DiBiase tried for a pin. Boyer still wouldn't stay down. Forearm smash, side headlock. Off the ropes goes Boyer again. Down goes DiBiase. DiBiase ducks. DiBiase is waiting. Oh, a flying, falling body slam. Knocks all the wind out of Boyer, and here comes the figure 4 leg lock. The figure 4 leg lock by Ted DiBiase. Boyer may have no choice but to submit. Right in the middle of the ring, Boyer now risking a serious knee injury because he won't give up. Finally, Boyer submits, and Ted DiBiase brings the fans to their feet.
the reputation of Ted DiBiase grew quickly, so quickly that Nature Boy Ric Flair interrupted his own scrap with Pat O'Connor to bait DiBiase, who was our guest commentator at the time.
O'Connor pounds on Flair. O'Connor bleeding from a head wound, still pounding on Flair, knocks Flair to the corner. Flair catapulted across the ring into the opposite corner.
Well, I thought he was going to go right over the top, Larry.
Look at O'Connor. O'Connor pounding on Flair. O'Connor almost out of control. That's unusual for Pat. There's that headbutt to the stomach again by Flair, but O'Connor was able to withstand some of the effect. Backslide by O'Connor. This could be it. Now one. Oh, and Flair.
So far, Ric Flair unable to take enough advantage to go for that figure 4 leg lock.
O'Connor's been hanging in there with him, matching him blow for blow, even though O'Connor's bleeding. That shows how effective those knee drops can be. It's something that Ted DiBiase will have to look out for. Flying elbow drop. Oh, that was a hard one. There goes Flair to the legs, moving that leg over.
He's going to work on that leg now, trying to wear that leg down, Larry, so he can put that figure 4 on it.
And that's the same knee that opened a cut on the head. Imagine what it's doing to the muscles in the leg and the cartilage in the knee.
Absolutely.
Flair stomping on the leg of O'Connor, trying to wear down O'Connor so Flair can go for the figure 4. Flair lifts the leg hard.
Wearing that leg down now.
Oh, that thigh's vulnerable too, Ted. There he goes.
He's going for it.
This could be it for the Nature Boy. Flair with the figure 4 drops into it, hooks the leg over.
He's got it on. It's going to be tough for Pat now. It could be all over.
This could be it. Nature Boy Ric Flair with the figure 4 leg lock on the bleeding Pat O'Connor. Ted, all he can try to do is roll over it, reverse it. What can he do, Ted?
If he can roll over and reverse the pressure of the hold, then Pat will be at advantage. That's what Pat's trying to do right now.
O'Connor.
Is to get both men turned over to where the leverage is in his advantage. That's right.
Flair won't let him do it. Too strong. O'Connor almost had Flair over, but couldn't quite turn him. O'Connor just won't quit. He's risking serious knee damage, Ted.
That's right. He's got it.
He's over. Oh, but Flair rolled right back along with it. But they're in the ropes. The referee wants that hold broken.
Flair now won by
10 minutes have elapsed. 10 minutes left.
The figure 4 leg lock has been broken. O'Connor was able to get it to the rope. Look at Flair. O'Connor badly hurt. That knee has to be in terrible.
His legs got to be in in terrible shape right now.
He can barely stand. Plus, he's had some head bleeding throughout the. Look at Flair baiting him. O'Connor trying to fight back. What a game effort by the former world champion, Pat O'Connor. A valiant effort. Pat O'Connor refusing to quit.
Never known Pat O'Connor to be a man to ever quit. I've never seen the man submit.
Now, a lot of lesser men right now would have quit. O'Connor lifts Flair, loses his balance.
Both of them out on the floor now, Larry.
They have a count of 20 outside the ring. Flair grabbing O'Connor. Takes O'Connor and slams him.
That's certainly uncalled for, Larry.
Oh, into the ring post. No reason for that at all, Ted.
Certainly no call. No need for that at all.
Look at Flair strutting outside the ring.
You old man with nothing. You're nothing. Look at the greatest thing going on.
There's no need for something like that. Oh, Flair says, you punk, and throws the water at DiBiase. He says that Ted DiBiase is following nothing, and there goes DiBiase after Flair. After Flair sounded off about his father and then insulted him, it's DiBiase after Flair. Flair hauled into the turnbuckles. Drop kick by DiBiase. That's one thing that Ted DiBiase could not take from the arrogant Ric Flair. And look at DiBiase pounding on Flair. DiBiase all over Nature Boy Ric Flair. DiBiase out of control. Charles Venator trying to restore some order. Venator knocked aside by DiBiase. Flair taking a terrific battering from Ted DiBiase. And I have to say that Flair asked for it. Venator calling for some help. Gene Stevens comes into the ring and DiBiase is after Stevens. DiBiase is after. Here comes Robley. They're trying to double team DiBiase. They're double teaming DiBiase. Robley holding DiBiase. Flair after Ted DiBiase. DiBiase being 4 men battering DiBiase. Here comes Ron Starr and Gary Young to help DiBiase. And we have a Donnybrook. Flair still after DiBiase. And Flair and DiBiase tangle up again. The shirt ripped off DiBiase by Nature Boy Flair. Young Starr, Stevens, Sweetan, Robley, all trying to restore some, and DiBiase will not be stopped. DiBiase after Flair, chasing Flair from the ring. Promoter Sam Munchnick here at ringside, trying to separate.
If anybody would still question how tough DiBiase was, Ted provided the answer clearly and loudly when DiBiase faced King Kong Brody, and Rocky Johnson was our guest at ringside.
Going around the corner, Brody's after DiBiase, and Brody slams DiBiase head first into the apron. Brody again slamming DiBiase head first into that apron. They stop at nothing if the man's hurt.
That's right. Now he's got the butt. Like I was saying before, he's just how smart Brody is. He's not no dummy. He's got the man hurt and he's staying right on him every chance. Not giving him time to breathe. Not giving him time to move. Staying right on him.
And of course he knew he had a 20 count outside the ring. He had time to do some damage.
That's right. He came out, did a little more. See what I mean? He got back in before the 20 count.
Of course that meant the referee had to restart the count on DiBiase, but there's Brody again. Ooh, hard kick. Right in the head. McGuire bawling out Brody, just ignoring him. I guess Brody'd be most at home if there were no rules, wouldn't he?
That's right. Knock down, drag out of fair, and turn him loose.
And here he comes again, outside the ring. King Kong Brody stalking Ted DiBiase.
10 minutes have elapsed, 10 minutes left.
King Kong Brody slammed DiBiase into the steel ring post, then yelled at Rocky Johnson. Yelled in triumph, I guess, because I think as far as Brody's concerned, he has DiBiase about ready for the cleaners, Rocky.
That's right. He got the kid down. The kid's hurt. There's no doubt about it.
He took a hard jolt in that ring post, catching it in the shoulder. Good way to get a shoulder separation. DiBiase struggling to the apron. Brody on top of him again.
Not giving him a chance to rest, not giving him a chance to move. He's staying on him all the time, just like a lion for the kill.
Like a human dynamo.
That's right.
Brody seems to have endless stamina, and DiBiase has to turn it around. He has to get it going here, Rock. If he takes much more.
Right, he's going to have to do something to do it fast.
McGuire trying to keep Brody back. DiBiase slams that shoulder into Brody's stomach. Brody tries to get some wind. Look at DiBiase. Goes up over the ropes. Grabs Brody's head. Goes behind him. Pulls him back into the cradle. This could be it. Count of two. Brody too strong. Too strong, Rocky. Looks like shades of the sunset flip there for a second. Now DiBiase pounds on the head of Brody. Brody hurled to the ropes. Drop kick. Shades of your drop kick again. Flying elbow drop. DiBiase goes for the pin. 2. Can't keep him down. DiBiase showing us something here, Rocky.
That's right. The kid sure is. You know, he's trying hard, and he's got one thing in mind, to win.
Going for the figure 4 leg lock, but Brody grabbed DiBiase's hair and pulled him away. Brody, a bit gimpy right now. Of course, Ted goes to the spinning toe hold in before he goes to that figure 4. Again, Brody pulled a hair. Brody crawling for the ropes, and DiBiase is after that knee, after that leg. Spinning toe hold. Goes for the figure 4. Brody kicks DiBiase clear over the top rope into the concrete floor. Was not a deliberate move, so no disqualification. Look at Brody, he's getting a little wilder now. He's out after DiBiase, who took a tremendous fall over the top rope. It's turning into a Donnybrook, Rocky.
That's exactly what it is there.
Brody slams DiBiase. No, DiBiase caught himself. DiBiase caught himself and didn't take the ring post. Now Brody slammed into the table. DiBiase and Brody outside the ring, and DiBiase clobbers Brody with a chair. DiBiase out of control, battling with Brody. Brody gone berserk, picks up a chair. Brody slamming chairs at DiBiase. Here comes Eddie Smith to try and separate the two men. Brody slamming chairs everywhere. King Kong Brody, look at DiBiase. They try to hold him back from Brody. The referees and ourselves in between.
The referee going to declare the match. What is it, Jim?
I lost control. Throw it out.
The referee going to disqualify both men.
But the biggest moment for Ted DiBiase was still to come. Do you remember what happened when DiBiase and World Heavyweight Champion Harley Race were on opposite sides of a tag team affair? Stick around. We're going to be taking a look at that right after this. Big opportunity for Ted DiBiase came when Ted and Paul Orndorff collided with World Heavyweight Champion Harley Race and Bulldog Bob Brown. Watch as DiBiase sparkles at various spots in the duel and then get ready for a tremendous climax.
Another flying tackle flattens Ted. DiBiase is waiting with a hip toss to the world champion. Side headlock. Over the hip goes the World Heavyweight Champion. Compliments of Ted DiBiase. Good wrestling by DiBiase. Race scored with 2 flying tackles, but the third one was for naught. DiBiase was waiting with the hip toss. Harley Race, the man who took the title from Terry Funk on February 6, 1977 in Toronto, Canada, using the Indian Deathlock, one of many maneuvers that Race has at his disposal, along with the suplex slam, the side saddle suplex, the pile driver, the atomic knee drop, the backbreaker. We've seen Race use them all, and it's that versatility which has played a major role in making Race the World Heavyweight Champion. Race trying to get behind DiBiase, looks like. Now Race lifts DiBiase. Atomic knee drop. No, DiBiase blocked it. DiBiase blocked it. He got those feet down first, and DiBiase scores with the atomic knee drop. Try for a pin. Brown breaks it up. But DiBiase
later in the match, Race and Brown tried to double team the brilliant Ted DiBiase, but it backfired.
Brown with a punch to the head. Race from outside the ring. Grabs DiBiase. Brown and Race double teaming DiBiase. The referee's chasing Orndorff back to his corner. Race strangling DiBiase from outside the ring. Brown grabs DiBiase by the hair and throws DiBiase through the ropes and out of the ring. Harley Race going outside after him. Orndorff comes over and keeps Race from getting at DiBiase. Now Race grabs DiBiase. He tries the pile driver on the concrete floor. He's trying to go. Look at DiBiase. DiBiase with a back body drop, slamming Race into the concrete floor. Race and DiBiase stand toe-to-toe. The brilliant young star, Ted DiBiase, against the seasoned and experienced world champion, Harley Race. Race knocked backwards by DiBiase, who tags Orndorff. And Orndorff is fresh. He's after Race. Race whipped into ground. Orndorff dropping Race. Orndorff after Brown. Give credit to DiBiase. He hung in there and he gives his man a chance. Orndorff catches Race coming off the ropes with a judo chop. DiBiase battering Brown. Knee drop by Orndorff to Race. He goes for the pin. I've 1, 2. Race won't quit. He'll never stay down easy. This match is pure pride now. It's pure guts. It's pure courage. It has been a wide open brawl.
3 minutes left. 3 minutes.
Race battering Orndorff. Race going for the pile driver on Orndorff. Race trying to lift him. Orndorff balancing against it, blocking it, holding the ankles, taking the weight, and dropping Race backwards. The second time the pile driver's been foiled today. That not as effective as when DiBiase did it, but it was effective. Brown using the knees across the side of Orndorff's head. Race yells instructions to Brown. Brown punches Orndorff in the face. What a battle this has been. Brown and Race against Orndorff and DiBiase. Orndorff fighting back against Brown. Brown staggered. Race reaches in for Orndorff. Gets him again. Here comes DiBiase into the ring as Orndorff is catapulted down by Harley Race. Brown standing on Orndorff's throat, walking across the windpipe. Orndorff drops Brown. Brown chopping on Orndorff's throat. Orndorff gets to DiBiase, and here comes Ted DiBiase. He's after Brown. Brown whipped across the ring and into the corner. Brown catapulted out and up and over by DiBiase. Brown pulls into DiBiase, tags Harley Race. Here comes Race. DiBiase doesn't know it, and Race is behind him. Race was behind DiBiase. DiBiase didn't know he was into the ring. Race going for the suplex. This could be... Oh, what a move by DiBiase! Back body drop, a giant suplex, a bridge. DiBiase pins the champion. Ted DiBiase has pinned the World Heavyweight Champion. DiBiase with a back suplex has pinned Harley Race. Race went for his suplex. DiBiase with a brilliant move. Slipped behind Race and with a back suplex. Ted DiBiase pins the world champion Harley Race. Has he made it to stardom? Has Ted DiBiase stepped over that line today? I think he has.
As the World Heavyweight Champion, Harley Race knows he's the main target for everybody in wrestling. And as you've seen today, he takes some lumps keeping that title, but never underestimate Race. He's a World Heavyweight Champion for more than 2 years. Why? Well, maybe some of the answers will be seen right here in this match between Harley Race and Gary Young.
A lot of people think that Race might just be ready after all his traveling, all the tough matches that he's had, no matter how good a shape he's in, no matter how well prepared he is, that lightning could strike. It certainly struck in one form or another last weekend when Ted DiBiase pinned Race. And who knows what could happen. The day may come tomorrow. It may come in 6 months. It may not come for 2 years. If Race has his way, it won't come for several years. But that day is going to come. Sure as the sun rises every morning when someday, somewhere, somebody is going to take that gold belt from Harley Race.
Well, he's just a man. I mean, they're all taking pop shots at him. They all want to get the belt. So he is out in the field by himself. He defends his titles. But it seems like with the whole list of the wrestlers that want to take a shot at the heavyweight championship, that's why a guy like Race, I mean, every night he's out traveling over in Japan, Australia, you name it. And still, it's got to take something out of you.
There's Race with the inside reverse toe hold, yanking back. Of course, there's something that can help Harley go later to the Indian Deathlock, a submission hold that Race used to dethrone Terry Funk. You talk about the kind of matches Race has had. Well, think to his last 2 matches in St. Louis, his last 2 title defenses. One with Dick the Bruiser, ended with both men counted out outside the ring of Donnybrook. Race took a battering. The match after that against Nature Boy Ric Flair. Flair was in complete command of the final fall. He'd won the second fall with a figure 4 leg lock from Race. But then both men fell over the top rope and outside the ring. It was a hard fall. At the count of 18, Race was underneath the ropes in the ring. He was in. At the count of 20, Flair was just onto the apron. Therefore, Flair was counted out outside the ring, and Race got the victory. Shaky though it was, of course, it still kept him the world champion. Race has had some tough, hard matches. Is he ready to be beaten? That's the question. Is he ready to be dethroned? Flying tackle by Harley Race. Young grabs Race's head, takes him over, and has the side headlock back once more.
And then again, he's got to worry about a guy like Gary Young, Von Erich.
Yes.
I mean, these young wrestlers that's coming up, and you know, you just can't, how would you say, lay back. You got to go all out because
every
they
time.
want you, baby. They want that belt that you have laying right there next to you.
You're number 1. Every time out, you are the main target in professional wrestling as the world champion. Race knows it. He nearly put Young's shoulders down there. I think he was pulling tights for a little extra leverage. Harley knows one thing, too, that if he loses that title, it's going to come when someone has just about put him in the hospital, because he will do anything to keep it. If the title's on the line, if it's a third and deciding fall, don't expect Harley Race to submit unless he has been severely, seriously injured. Race will not give that gold belt up without a fight. As he says, it's half of my life, and I don't give half of my life away. Race lifts Young. Backbreaker by Race. Backbreaker by the champion.
5 minutes of elapsed, 15 minutes left.
Race with the front face lock. Twists the head of Gary Young. Look at him force Young down to the mat. Harley, with pure strength, just pulled Young down and put him face first on the canvas. Now Harley can really apply the pressure and drive that shoulder and the bicep into the back of Young's head. That's a very effective maneuver. Not real spectacular, but it does the job as Race drives that shoulder, part of the chest, the bicep, into the back of his opponent's head, in this case, Gary Young. Young has nowhere to go. There's nothing to absorb the blow, just a mat below it, and he's being forced against that already. Race, a very clever defensive wrestler. Always at home inside the ring, knows what to do, knows when to do it, can spot an opening like the best hunter in the world, believe me.
Well, I tell you too, Larry, not only Race, but any one of the wrestlers, when they get inside that ring, they're in there alone. I mean, they have no offensive team or defensive team or a guy in a bullpen.
Oh!
They do it themselves.
Mick, the flying elbow drop of Gary Young misses. The flying elbow drop misses.
Race with a knee drop to the head. And Mickey made a good point there, too, because when a professional wrestler goes into the air, there are no strings holding him. He has no padding. It's just his body. And however hard, however tough that body is determines how much punishment he can take. He hits that canvas hard. And that's just what Gary Young did. Race, reverse neck breaker. We haven't seen Harley use that very often. The reverse neck breaker by the world champion. Young spins out from underneath. We see some of the training from the former world champion Pat O'Connor right there. O'Connor's been working with Young, and Young escaped that body press from Race, just as Pat O'Connor probably would have too. Race was surprised that Young got up from that reverse neck breaker. Knee lift to the stomach by Harley Race. Another knee lift to the stomach by the world champion. Race puts Young down, drops the knee right into the forehead. The knee to the forehead by Harley Race. Another knee drop by Race. Race covers Young. Young won't stay down. Harley's a little angry. Can't quite believe it. Little bewilderment across his face. If Young could turn things around here, he's managed to stay away from being pinned. If he could turn this around and come back, well, who knows? But Young has to get something going. Race pounding on him. And if anybody knows how to dish it out, it's Harley Race. Race locks the head. He's going for that suplex slam. Ted DiBiase escaped it last week. Can Gary Young? No, Race has him securely and crushes him down to the mat. Harley Race with the suplex slam. 1, 2, 3. The world heavyweight champion. Harley Race polishes off Gary Young with the suplex slam.
Thank you for watching Classic St. Louis Wrestling Volume 1. I guarantee you I liked it just as much as you did. Volume 2 right around the corner. Why was St. Louis Wrestling so special? We have the proof here on every edition of Classic St. Louis Wrestling. And until the next time, this is Larry Matisic saying so long.
The Bruiser driving Murdoch's head into the press table. And